This footage you're about to see here is pretty disturbing. I've seen many people highlighting flaws in Britain's police and the way they treat anti-Semitic and anti-Israel sentiment, and sometimes arrest people who are pro-Israel simply for waving an Israeli flag or for having a kippah on in certain areas, and they sort of say, you could be being provocative walking past that Palestinian demonstration, anti-Israel demonstration. It's I don't want to make generalized statements at all. I'm sure there's no doubt there'll be plenty of people in the British police who are well-meaning, but this is another of many examples where the British police have been unacceptable, complicit even, in Jew hatred. I remember one time they said people calling for jihad in the streets in the anti-Israel demos. Well, jihad can mean an internal spiritual reflective process. I'm sure that's exactly what they meant when they said that. Likewise, they say from the river to the sea can mean many things. But here, when you sniff that something isn't quite right in their justifications, it normally isn't the case. And here we have an example of a policeman here being outright hostile to Jews. Have a watch first of what happens here, and then we can unpack it.
You lot.
Who's you lot?
You lot.
Explain it.
Them lot. There. Israel's a Jew.
Well, explain it to me.
This man has just said the Jews kill children. That is a racially aggravated harm intended to incite hatred. So I'm alarmed and distressed by that he intends harm to me and other Jews.
My only comment that I would say to that, okay, is that I heard him say it. I'm not going to disagree that he didn't say it, okay. But we're in a public forum where people can express views, okay. I disagree that it's a racially aggravated remark, okay. And at the same time, there was a sign up there not too long ago saying something along the lines of Hamas are rapists, which I would suggest is in the same vein as
Well,
the
they
remark
are.
that he's just
Excuse
made.
me. No, it's not in the
So
same
that's
vein
why
at
I'm not
all. I
going
take a
to-
great objection to you saying that Hamas, that you say that Jews are baby killers, is in the same vein as
I'm not here to
Hamas
get into an
are
argument with you on
rapists.
the
Come on,
street.
think about.
I'm
okay.
simply saying that the tone of the messages that are used
Think about this
are
for a
very
second.
similar.
Think about this for a second. Jews are baby killers is in the same vein as Hamas are rapists. Think about that.
I'm not going to get into
One
that
is a
argument with you on the
prescribed
street.
terrorist
What I'm
organisation.
saying is,
One
I'm
are an
wanting
ethnic
people on this
identity.
street just to simply express their views,
Come on.
okay, in relative calmness, all right? If they're going to start causing issues, we will be there, okay, to prevent them from doing that. But while we're having an argument and just a back and forth verbal discussion on the street, we're not going to get anywhere, are we? We're just escalating the situation.
Listen, you need to think about this though. One group of people saying Jews are baby killers. Jews are an ethnicity. Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation. Having a poster saying Hamas are rapists is not in the same vein as saying Jews are baby killers.
I'm saying in terms of the tone of the
No,
message.
I don't. It's not in the tone of the
I
tone.
think
There's no similarity whatsoever.
We'll agree to disagree in that aspect.
Come on,
okay?
well, you need to be thinking about this clearly.
Can I ask you to head back to the group, okay, to prevent an unnecessary escalation
We will head
between
back,
what
but
these people are
if
saying
they come and heckle
what
us,
you're doing?
we have a right to respond.
So let's just be clear about this and unpack it word by word. He starts off by saying, well, it's a free forum, people are allowed to say what they say. Well, that gets into the whole question of free speech. And maybe in America or other parts of the world, free speech, they're basically absolute unless you're literally inciting violence. But in Britain, they have hate speech laws. That's considered illegal. There's been people that have been locked up currently for saying things like, we should deport all migrants and things like that. Locked up. Who, by the way, deleted the tweet an hour later. There's been, I can think of so many cases of people who have been literally facing criminal charges for things they've tweeted. But here, when he says Jews are child killers, they're murderers, Jews, this kid here, he says, well, he's entitled to opinion the same way that you are entitled to, you said that Hamas are rapists. The fact that this even needs to be explained to a policeman or to anyone should... it's so disturbing. Let's just give another example. Imagine you have two people, let's say, debating or protesting about India and Pakistan. And one side says Indians are child killers. Indians. And the other side says Al-Qaeda are terrorists and they're murderers. If you can't tell me you can't see the difference between that, a generalized statement versus talking about a specific terrorist entity. By the way, if he'd have said the Israeli government, it's a different story. Obviously, I think that's completely heinous and it actually does fall into anti-Semitic traps, but at least you could try to make the case that you're not talking about all Jews. Here he says, this person says all Jews. Jews. And the policeman said, well, you said Hamas are rapists, which they are. It is beyond disturbing. And the double standards the police are showing here and have shown when they lock people up for far less is frankly unacceptable. And this policeman here needs to be reprimanded and law needs to rule. Right now, there's double standards, and if you want to have hate speech laws, that's discussion to have. But if you're going to have that, you should apply that fairly. And this is unacceptable.
Thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.